Tonight, Afghanistan on the brink of a Taliban takeover. Insurgents capture more territory. They're now in Kabul, the capital. U.S. troops rush back to get diplomats out. CBS News is there with the latest.
I'm Roxana Saberi in Kabul, where the Taliban are now inside the city.
Also tonight, the political fallout.
The idea that the status quo could have been maintained by keeping our forces there, I think is simply wrong.
This is President Biden's Saigon moment.
Plus, desperate surge. Haiti deals with disaster as the earthquake death toll soars. COVID cases skyrocket. More protests against masks and vaccines. This crowd inside Oklahoma's state capitol.
Because this is like Custer's last stand. We got to be heard.
We have a common enemy, and that common enemy is the virus.
Storm threat. Fred powers up in the Gulf Coast. Grace not far behind as monsoon rain swamp the Southwest. And later, the volunteers making Miami Beach accessible to all.
Oh, man, this is so good. What's it like?
This is the CBS Weekend News. From New York, here's Jerika Duncan.
Good evening. A lot of news to get to today. America's nearly 2-decade-long involvement in Afghanistan is coming to an abrupt and chaotic end. Today, Taliban fighters took control of the capital, Kabul. President Ashraf Ghani suddenly fled the country. Then this. Taliban fighters were seen rolling up the Afghan flag inside the presidential palace. And tonight, President Biden is deploying another 1,000 troops to Kabul. They're part of a 6,000-strong contingent to help evacuate Americans. And take a look at this. U.S. helicopters have been flying between the U.S. Embassy and the airport. That's where diplomats and civilians have moved. It is now the only way out for Americans and our allies. We have team coverage of today's events in Afghanistan with reaction from Washington and London. But we begin tonight with CBS's Roxana Saberi in Kabul. Roxana.
Good evening, Jerika. In a single day, the Taliban not only made it to the gates of the capital, they also made their way in without resistance. The president, who just yesterday vowed to keep fighting, fled the country, and the Afghan government essentially collapsed. Videos posted online appear to show crowds of Kabul residents warmly embracing the Taliban as they arrived. In a statement this evening, the group said its forces have moved into certain districts abandoned by government security forces to prevent looting. Also tonight, Al Jazeera has broadcast video of Taliban fighters inside the presidential palace. This comes as President Ghani said in a Facebook statement he left to avoid further bloodshed. The Taliban have pledged not to harm civilians, foreigners, or diplomats. But Afghans afraid of the return to Taliban rule swarm the streets of the capital, some desperate to get on flights out of the country. Other Afghans who fled to Kabul from the countryside to escape the Taliban say now they have nowhere else to go. Tonight, people here tell us they're shocked at how quickly everything changed and how fast their president fled, calling him a coward. Jerika.
Roxana Saberi for us, thank you.